Yo, what's good, wrestling games fans? Welcome back to the channel. God bless and thank you for rocking with your boy. Today we got a controversial one, man. You see it in the title, you seen the thumbnail. It's the reason why you clicked on this video. Arcade versus simulation. This has been one of the ones, man. This has been a heavily debated thing amongst the wrestling games community for quite a while now. So we're going to talk about it, man. I'm going to let you guys know where I stand and I'm going to give my perspective on things. So without further ado, man, let's jump right into this video. So ever since the first gameplay footage of Wwe 2K22 dropped, fans were kind of wondering what direction they were going in, and a lot of them were actually concerned whether the game was going a bit too arcadey. And I can admit, after seeing like the devs deep dive in their ringside report, some of the new features that they implemented and just the overall gameplay mechanics did give off some strong arcade fighting game energy. And now we got the new AEW Fight Forever leak, and with details regarding their game, guess basically specifying that it's going to be more of the arcade style gameplay. We're going to talk about this a little later, but first let's get into my thoughts on WWE 2K22. Keep in mind, the things that I'm about to say are strictly my opinion. I don't look at my opinion as fact, or I don't hold my opinion higher than anybody else's. So I just wanted to get that out the way. So anyway, man, after actually getting a chance to spend some time with this game and, play through it, I can honestly say, man, some of the newer mechanics seem a bit off. Like the block and dodge mechanic as currently constructed does not fit a professional wrestling game. The animations and movements are awkward. I mean, why is my wrestler out here trying to check kicks and slip punches and stuff? Like, bro, this is not the UFC, man. So I really didn't understand the logic behind this feature. This one for me was a weird game design choice, especially for a wrestling game. As far as combos and breakers, aside from the one-size-fits-all approach that 2K took in terms of just breakers and like the moves that you pull off when you actually successfully pull off a breaker, it's not a bad system. I mean, I'm not really a fan of seeing guys like Taker and Omos and Keith Lee spin kicking guys in the stomach and pulling off judo throws and stuff. That's weird. Ironically, I think both the combo and the breaker system could use a dose of simulation. I mean, especially in terms of just pacing and the speed of everything. I think this feature could have a lot of longevity. But getting back on course with things, and as far as where I stand, if I had to pick a side, I would heavily lean towards simulation. Does this mean I want a game that's 100% simulation? Absolutely not. And all this means essentially is I would much rather have a wrestling simulation game with arcade and fighting game elements, as opposed to a fighting game that's just skinned to look like a wrestling game. So on a foundational level, yes, I want a wrestling simulation. I want to feel like I'm playing a wrestling experience. But on that same note, that doesn't mean everything has to be overly simulation either. So when it comes to stuff like chain wrestling, working holds, weapon physics, a 5 count, wrestlers actually grabbing the ropes, doing rope breaks, I'm absolutely simulation. But on the other side of that, I absolutely love the more exaggerated move impact from games like Here Comes the Pain. I mean, body morphing and creating like the fantasy arenas and like crazy over the top finishers. Like, I'm arcade all day when it comes to that kind of stuff. Personally, I would like to see them put more respect on things like limb damage. Like, I would like to see wrestlers limp around and hold their limbs, to sell injuries during matches. Do I want them to do it the entire match? Absolutely not. Just like I don't want to see guys no sell and kick out of like 10 finishers in a row. I think one of the big challenges that 2K faces is being able to stay true to a simulation experience without compromising the skill-based aspects on a competitive level. So if you are skilled at button mashing or you have crazy like hand-eye coordination, you should be rewarded for that. Maybe you're able to kick out of a couple more finishers than the average person, but not like 5 or 6 of them. I mean, at some point the game has to draw a line especially in situations like where your health is dangerously low. I mean, there's no way you should be able to kick out outside of having resiliency. Ultimately, I think deciding when and where to blur the lines between the arcade and simulation style gameplay is going to be very important in this game moving forward. Which kind of brings me to my next talking point, and it's more of a question for you guys. Like, what do you guys consider arcade? What do you consider simulation? Like, what makes a game fundamentally like more arcade or more simulation than like another game? Because you could make the argument that even though 2K has mainly been slated as a simulation style game, on a foundational level, there are quite a few arcade elements, especially if you take into consideration the health and vitality meters, the special meters, and all that. Those concepts come directly from fighting games. So that is something to think about. But for me, it's pretty simple. I mean, what I consider simulation is anything that basically happened in the realm of professional wrestling, not just WWE, but just in the realm of professional wrestling. If it happened in a match, then I consider that simulation. So it's like even the crazy spots like jumping off the SmackDown fist or power bombing dudes into stage lighting, any of that is simulation because it actually happened. So do me a favor, man, down in the comments below, let me know what you feel like is simulation and what you feel like is arcade. And let me know what side of the fence you stand on, man. Are you pro arcade or are you pro simulation? Or would you just like a mix between the two? Because honestly, I think that's what the AEW game is going to be. I think it's going to be more of a mix. I don't think it's going to be as arcadey as people might think. Because if you can see in the pictures, like you can actually see wrestlers selling, and I can't imagine anybody selling in an arcade style game. It's like that's just typically doesn't happen. But anyway, wrestling games fans, that's going to do it for this one, man. I appreciate y'all for rocking with your boy. Do me a favor, if y'all have not subscribed and you made it this far, go ahead and do that for me, man, and hit that thumbs up. Trying to reach 200 subscribers. So any help is greatly appreciated. But God bless. Till the next time. Later.